Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ministry Mondays with Meg. I'm Meg. Um, I am Reverend Meg Biddle. I am the National Coordinator of Ministry Life and the ABPS, the American Baptist Personnel Services. And I serve at the Leadership and Mission Building, which is in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. There's my commercial. So, welcome, everybody. We are glad to have you with us. Today, my guest is Mikayla Myers. I met Mikayla a couple of months ago, I think it was, at the Indiana Kentucky Biennial. Um, Mikayla, would you just tell everybody, who you are, a little bit about you?
Yeah, I am Mikayla Myers. I am a student at Grace College and Theological Seminary. I am majoring in biblical studies, minoring in intercultural studies and Spanish. Um, What else do you want from me?
Oh, that's a good start. That's a good start.
Okay.
So we were talking before we went on the air.
Yeah.
About the program you're in. Tell
The
everybody.
blended program.
That's fantastic. The blended program. Okay.
So I am a part of the blended program here at Grace, which is basically I can get both my bachelor's and my master's in 4 years. So I will be getting my bachelor's with my major and my minors, and I will also be getting my MA in local church ministry.
Which is phenomenal. Especially, as everybody knows, the cost of college. Here you come out with your bachelor's and your master's all together. Yay. What a gift to be able to do things something like that.
It's going to take a few summer classes, but we can get through that.
Oh yeah, that's totally worth it. So as you eventually graduate, do you have a call, do you feel like you have a call to serve in a certain way?
I mean, right now I am thinking I want to work in a church in the States as some kind of like associate pastor of missions and outreach.
Okay.
I've talked about this a lot with my dad, who is a pastor. So to get some of the inner workings on that, I want to basically help mobilize the people in the church to do outreach in the community and also help them with maybe national and international missions trips where they would need insight and help with that in leadership.
That's a great answer, really, because mission is so important. And I think especially as younger generations are now moving into leadership roles, things like that mission, things like that community, creating authentic community is so important, right? So as we kind of like think about that, your dad serves a church.
Yes.
And we're talking a brick and mortar building.
Yeah.
Can you see the future of the church, like outside the building?
I mean, yeah. Our church has always been very, very into like outreach for the community. It can be kind of messy, but recently I wasn't there for it because I was here, but they did a thing where they did Thanksgiving baskets and they made about, was it 150, 250 something pies to give out to the community for people in need.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. Because it's about going out and being in your community, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
just need to keep it going strong, keep the fire alive,
Yeah. So what might community look like in the future going forward?
That is a very good question. I know for people my age, we really want to be involved. And this was something I touched on at the biennial. People say, oh, you need to do your time. You need to get your place before you can start getting involved and getting deep into the church, and we don't want that. We don't want to I said it this way at the biennial. We don't want to rent the house. We want to buy it. We want to get all in and be as involved as we can be.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Why not just dive on in? And like you were talking about, sometimes it's messy, right? I
Yes.
mean, and anyone who's ever served in ministry will tell you ministry is messy, but
Yes.
it's beautiful
It
too.
is.
You know, sometimes you just ask God to take this mess and bless it, and here
Yes.
you go. But I agree.
Mm.
Don't no. I think I get that there's something about belonging. There's something about um, you know doing your time, so to speak. But who says that you can't just dive on in and be like, hey, I'm Meg,
Yeah.
where do you need me? Where do you want me?
Yeah.
What can I do?
Yes.
Kind of thing. Um, yeah. So that's what your generation, that's what to you, like the future of the church is just that.
Yeah. That's what I see.
Yeah. I did a little Googling.
Okay.
Yes. As I do
Yeah.
with everybody. And I found the article that was in
Oh.
the paper about you um taking over the pulpit, what, about a year ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
So was that fun, or was that like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay. So the article that you found in the paper was the first time I've spoken behind the pulpit. I've done it one more time on a Sunday morning
okay.
at church for a church service over the summer, and I've done it a couple times for the Alley. That is a church. They run a kitchen through our church, and they do services Friday night. So I've spoken for them twice as well.
Okay. And I know that there's this terrifying kind of
Yes.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I was told that if that ever stops, if you ever, don't have that feeling, that you need to stop and reevaluate what you're doing, because
Yeah.
then you're getting a little
Yeah.
cocky,
Well, every time I get up there, I'm like, yes, I'm excited. I'm going to do this. And then I get up there and I look out at the people and I'm like, Dad, I don't want to be here anymore. Can you save me? But I can't because I'm already up there and I've already started. So I just got to keep going.
Right. And there's a point where, you know what,
Yep.
we don't need our dads to
Yeah.
say. I get it. My dad's a pastor too,
Yeah.
so I except he became, when I was a pastor when I was in high school. So something all my life. But there's something about, oh, you're, Steve's daughter, you're Jeremy's daughter.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I just be me?
But
Kind of.
even here, sometimes I
Oh,
get,
that
oh,
happens there.
you're Jimmy Myers' daughter. You're Dr. Myers' daughter. Yes. How do you know that? And it turns out he's like Facebook friends with a few of like the professors here, so they know of me through his Facebook. So I still get that here occasionally.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as much, not as often,
Yeah.
but
For me, you know what? Sometimes it's nice to have a different last name, because yeah, I'm honored to be my dad's daughter,
yeah,
but finding your own identity,
yeah,
I think, especially as clergy, whose gender just happens to be female, can be tough.
mm.
Now, when we were talking before, you said you haven't really had
No,
issues, and I hope it stays that way.
yeah, me too.
Um, but as you move into a church, that may change. Although,
Yeah,
again, I do pray that they're just like that. Whatever church you serve, or however you end up
mm.
serving, it's just like, this is like the best thing that
Yeah,
you know
Yeah.
Um, so last year you said you were an intern or intern
Yeah,
over
I was an intern for the church over the summer.
and so now you're just like trying to make it through trying to make it through
Trying to make
school.
it through school. Yeah.
Right.
We're nearing the end
Uh,
of the semester. About 3 weeks until Christmas break. Got to do my final papers, my finals, and then I'll be done with this session, with this semester.
and you will be like ready for the nap. Right, right. Um and you mentioned earlier the like where we met at the Indiana Kentucky Biennial, and there was like this when the generations, with the four of you were up there on the stage, um I sitting in the audience, you could just be like looking around, and there they are. It's almost like they wanted to like pounce, not like in a bad way, but just like the young ones will tell us how to fix it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, do you get a lot of that?
I mean, not very often. I don't really get that. It's only at places like the Biennial where I get questions like that when I'm up on the stage, like as a Gen Zer, like they're talking about my generation and our how like our various thoughts on things, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But I don't get that very often. I mean, occasionally my dad will be like, "Hey, Mikayla, what do you think about this thing for such and such a thing?" And I'll tell him. But I don't really get people asking me like, "Oh, how do we fix the church? How do we fix all these problems?" Like,
I was gonna say because I could just picture that happening though, like them cornering you and going, "So, Mikayla, you're Gen Z.
yeah,
Tell us, tell us everything. How are we fixing this? How do we make it better? How do we get everybody in the church again?" And
yeah. Well, I would tell them what I told you earlier.
yeah,
We want to be involved. We want to have our hands in the pies, so to speak.
yeah.
Um, we want to be able to do things and help serve the community and the church, and we want to be involved.
Um, so let's say you meet somebody, um, and and you wanna invite them to come and be a part of, whether it be the church, whether it be ministry. I mean, how does a conversation like that even even go?
With someone my age?
Yeah, with somebody your age. I mean,
Okay.
because faith has changed a lot,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I would typically be like, "Oh, hey, my youth group is doing this event this Sunday. You should come. It'll be fun. There'll be games, food, and some Jesus. It'll be fun." And so I try to like bring them in with like this thing that we're doing and hope that like keep on bringing them in, and then hopefully it'll begin to stick. So now I'm in college, I'd probably be like, "Hey, my church here in Warsaw is doing." Recently, I wasn't able to go, unfortunately, because it was I had to I had to go I had to go home for some reason. I
Oh,
don't remember why,
yeah.
but they do this event called We Care Warsaw every year, and basically people donate like laundry detergent, toys for kids for Christmas, and it's just a bunch of things for people who are in need in the community. And if I were to like start getting someone into the church, I probably would have been like, "Hey, we're doing this event. You can come out and help if you want. It'll be really fun. There'll be food. You get to hang out with people." So that's
Yeah,
typically how I would start.
I think that's a great way to start.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought a little bit of perspective might be interesting. For a while, I did the college chaplaincy thing while I was pastor,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that exactly what you're saying, what you said twice, three times now,
Yeah.
was that I could invite these kids to be like, "Hey, I've got this thing. We're doing this for the community, with
Mm-hmm.
the community." And they're like, yes,
Mm.
I'll be there. And if there was free food, free t-shirt, even better
Free
kind of
food,
thing.
free t-shirts, that's the best way to get my people to come anywhere. We love free things.
Yeah, I'll send you a t-shirt later, by the way.
Oh!
Yeah, so we'll get you one of the fancy Ministry Mondays with Meg shirts, which are very comfortable.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, see? You didn't even know you get a t-shirt.
I
See?
know.
That.
This is crazy.
Um, so yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. Is I think that this is the future of the church, is the with the community. Send them a t-shirt, uh, just let them get in there and get messy.
Yes.
And they're like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Getting them at church on a Sunday morning, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. And it wasn't necessarily a I have no room in my life for Jesus. It was one, I don't want to get out of bed on a Sunday morning, you know, and that was pre-pandemic.
Mm.
So thinking about how that's changed
Yeah.
between 2020 and now, you know, I think that we need more Mikaylas um, in ministry, really, that are going, this is what it is, and are willing to say that.
Yeah.
Um, and and I hope, um, I hope that I'm sure that you will be successful in whatever you do, even when you fall on your face. Don't forget that
Yeah.
um, sometimes 40 people showing up to an event um, is not success. You know, is not success. Um, but 5 people showing up is, because what you are able to accomplish
Mm-hmm.
um, for God,
Mm-hmm.
you know, is amazing. So here's a question.
Yeah.
All right, so if you could do, and I didn't prepare you for this, so if you could do anything, God says, okay, you can do anything for me, and you will not fail. What might you do? It doesn't have to be like a deep kind of.
Oh, that is a big question. Um. So if God is there,
Mm,
He says, if you can do anything for me, what would you do?
and you're not going to fail.
And you're not gonna fail.
It can be something simple.
Oh my gosh. Um. It. Oh wow. Um. Give me a second. I
Yeah.
think about thoughts. Um. It would probably be just like success and in like helping spread the love that I have for missions and helping people treat every day like a mission instead of just a week long trip to like my youth group did a trip to Alabama or a week long trip to the Dominican Republic.
There you
Like,
go.
I want them to get that fire for everyday missions.
That was not a fair question because I didn't warn you, but that was a great answer. Yes, 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 yes. And it comes back to your heart, Mikayla, your heart for missions, which I think is beautiful. And I think as long as we're doing these things for God, um, that while the world may deem them as failures,
Mm.
we will not. You know,
Yeah.
we will not fail. So then, I'll just kind of, I know you got things going on in school and all that stuff. So, and I've appreciated you doing this and being a part of this, because you can just, you radiate joy, you really do, and I love that. So that joy question, the one I
Yeah.
warned you about. So everything that you do, student, daughter, you know, um, in life, what brings you joy? And Jesus doesn't have to be your answer. Just so you know.
Um I mean I was thinking about this beforehand, and I wasn't entirely sure what you meant. So could you like explain what you
Okay.
mean by your question a little more?
So that's why I asked that question that way. Is it's an open question. So I've had people say, my kids bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
Being a dad, being a people talk about, I had one person who said, "Can I say quiet? Quiet brings me joy, just being able to shut everything off and just like center in the silence." It doesn't, it's, I'm not looking for a deep theological
Okay.
answer. I'm just looking for something that you're like, oh, yeah, I'm really glad that, even if it's petting your dog or your cat or whatever it may be, everybody's answer is different. That's why I say Jesus doesn't have to be your answer.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
not the answer I'm looking for. So,
Okay.
yeah.
There are a couple things.
Okay.
The first one would probably be when I FaceTime my family at night before I go to bed. I don't remember to do that every night, but when I do, it's just like a like I got to speak with them, got to talk to them about what I'm doing here, what they're doing at home. I get to see my dog through the camera, Evie. So that's one of the things. And then the other thing I would say is probably crocheting. I crochet.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I typically try to take time, I also in the evenings, to like work on a few like crochet projects that I'm doing. Like right now, I'm making a bunch of granny squares for a patchwork quilt.
Okay. Okay. I don't crochet, I knit.
Okay.
Um, I never got the hang of crocheting for some reason. But maybe one of these days I will.
Yeah.
Um, yes, those are great answers. That's what I'm looking for. It's just what, because you know what you did at the end of that. You when you're talking about especially FaceTiming with your family and your dogs and all, you know, you know
Yeah.
it those things that bring us joy are those things that allow us to go,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that sigh is deeper, is a deeper thing. But
Yeah.
and and you know what? I could ask you that question a year from now, and it might be a completely different answer. And that's okay. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But I'm glad that you do take a little bit of time for yourself to knit, or to touch base with your family,
Yeah.
and because they keep you grounded,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, um, well, I appreciate you very much,
Yeah.
um, taking time to chat with me. And
Thank you for inviting me.
yeah, absolutely. You are my youngest guest thus far. So you get that distinguishing.
Ooh,
Yeah, people ask about that.
exciting.
So like, what episode number was I? Kind of thing. Or they want like the Jeopardy questions kind of thing. I've only had
Mm-hmm.
one person that's been on here twice, that kind of thing. So you have the distinction of being my youngest guest thus far. So there we go. Um, but again, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you grow,
Thank you.
and supporting you in ministry, and see what we can do to connect you with some of the ABHMS ministry stuff going on here, and
Yeah.
get you plugged in.
Yeah.
Um, and we thank everybody for watching, and I'll be back next week with another guest. So thank you everybody for watching, and we'll be here Monday at 11 a.m.